All right, so I'm now going to go over the directions for the rest of the slides in this presentation. So here you can see there are three sets of inequalities. Now, the numbers are not lined up by their place values, so you're going to have to go ahead and do that in your notebooks or on a scrap piece of paper. You might also be able to use the text box off to the side, but you want to line these up and you're going to compare. So in the first one, for example, you're going to compare 890 thousandths with 89 hundredths. And just like before, you will use these symbols over here to the right-hand side and just drag them over to make those number sentences true. On the next slide, this one here, what you need to do is decide whether each of those statements are true or false. So again, in your notebook, you're going to want to go ahead and line up these numbers. And so, for example, in the first one, where it says 42 thousandths is greater than 42 hundredths, if I think that is true, I'm just going to click on it, drag it into the box that says true. Or if I think it's false, I'll leave it in the box that says false. And you're going to go ahead and do that for every single one of these problems over here. So on this slide, it says, select all the decimals that are greater than 715 and 148 thousandths, but less than 715 and 35 hundredths. Well, right off the bat, I realized that these two numbers do not have the same amount of digits. Also, in my answer choices, not all of those numbers have the same amount of digits. So, again, you're trying to find numbers that would fall if we were on a number line in between these two. So, my suggestion to you is when you're writing in your notebook, or even if you want to go ahead and use the text box, that's right up here. You can just click that, come down here. You can add zeros to try and make those numbers even out. So that way they all end in the thousands place. You can see how I just, slide that right in there. And it looks like I would need another one for this number. So I'll add another one in. That might help you when you're comparing. And then what you'll do is, if it is something that would fall in between these, you're just going to use this X and you will drag it on top of the ones that do work, that are correct, that fall in between those two numbers. So again, that's my suggestion to help you out on this slide, is add zeros when you're writing in your notebooks or write on the slide. And again, you are trying to find something that is larger than 715 and 148 thousandths, but still smaller than 715 and 35 hundredths. You have one more slide to go after this. So on this slide here, what you want to do is fill in your own numbers that would make these inequalities true. So it says in this first one, 3 and 26 hundredths is greater than what? Now, guys, I don't want you just to say it's greater than 1 or greater than 0. I would like for you to give me a decimal number. Well, in this case, I do see that it's starting off with 3 wholes and a 2 in the tens place. So maybe I can also relate this to money. I see $3.26. So maybe I'm going to go $3.18. And again, this number to the left, the 3 and 26 hundredths, is larger or greater than 3 and 18 hundredths. Now for the next one, this symbol means I am looking for less than. So I have 15 and 741 thousandths. I want that number to be less than the one that I type. And again, I'm going to try and get a little creative here and use a digit into the thousands place. So I'm going to go 15 and I know it needs to be larger, 965 thousandths. And again, I know that this number is greater than the one on the left because the first place value where it's different is right there. I'll bold it for you so you can see the first place that it's different is right there. So I know that in the tens place, I have created a number that is larger than 15 and 741 thousandths. So that's what you're going to do, is type in numbers that would make all of these statements true.